This is episode 106, Falsehood versus Fatherhood.
Say that again. What?
Falsehood versus fatherhood. We're going to be dispelling the myths of what fatherhood is in our community and the real men that are out there showing up for their families. I can't wait to get into it.
Let's get into it.
All right.
Today, we're having some real talk conversation with someone who I know is an amazing dad, my brother, Dr. Adonis Blue. He's joining us today. And I'm going to tell you a little bit. I just know him as, part of my family, but let me just introduce him to you guys. Adonis has been an educator for 28 years. He served as a principal in his tenure. And he recently, I should say Dr. Adonis Blue, because that's absolutely a part of his credentials. And he very recently became a restaurant owner, a franchise owner. So super proud of all of his accomplishments and thought it was very fitting for him to be here with us today. So welcome, bro.
Thank you. Thank you, little sis. I appreciate it. Thank you for sharing the platform with me.
Absolutely. And we appreciate you being here. We know this is a really busy time for you as you're getting your franchise off the ground. Before we get started, you want to tell us a little bit about it?
Sure. So the name of the franchise is called I Heart Mac and Cheese. Okay. I hear the already.
Yes.
Focus on fast casual dining and takeout. It's gourmet mac and cheese. But in addition to that, we have signature bowls, signature grilled cheese sandwiches, signature flatbreads. And if you want something customized, you can customize any type of macaroni and cheese bowl, any type of grilled cheese, any sort of flatbread. It's a really fairly new franchise. It's been around about maybe 8 years.
Wow.
Pilot in the RTP area, which is Raleigh. We had maybe 200 guests or more on our grand opening this past Monday.
That's amazing. That's Congratulations. Awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah, so thus far the reviews have been great. So we're in a good spot. So we're really happy and excited about it.
That's
congratulations. That's amazing. And for all you all out there in North Carolina, those listening in North Carolina, you know where to go now. Get your mac and cheese fix.
Go check them out.
Yeah.
It's actually keeping our family legacy alive, because we talked about it here where my family actually owned a soul food restaurant for some years. So he's, continuing that legacy, and we're really, really proud of him.
So, we really appreciate you joining us all the way from Raleigh, North Carolina. Right now, you said your restaurant is, where you're running your restaurant. Where exactly? Can you give exact location? Because I want to make sure people can find you.
Sure. We are located in the North Raleigh community, which is sort of like the heart of the city. We're located at 5011 Falls of Neuse Road, which is a major street. There are a lot of different businesses and establishments, so not that really hard if you Google it.
We're near, great.
Local highways and intersections. So if you Google it, I'm sure the directions will take you to the front door.
Awesome.
Amazing. So, as we said, this is our Father's Day episode. And, we wanted you here because of all the things that you've done and accomplished, being a real estate investor, developer, all those things. I know that one of your most important roles is being a father to your son, Adonis Jr. But you, like myself, we grew up in similar situations. We grew up in single mother households. And so I guess for me, wanting to understand, what crafted, your example for you. And maybe you could talk about, sort of how you got from, your upbringing to, being a good father now to your son.
Sure. So as you just alluded to, we grew up in single parent households. And during that time, it was very difficult to raise any child, boy or girl. And the heart of a very busy inner city. So my mom, who, you know, I still have the highest regards as my hero, who passed away some years ago. You know, I find her special to, uh, you know, not because of simply because who she is, but to install into me, you know, all those inequalities just to be a good person. We were also blessed and fortunate to have other father figures who serve, you know, as fathers, such as our uncles and just other, you know, men within the community, within the church, who all chipped in, you know, and kind of filled the void, to fill the blank wherever it was needed. But in addition to that, it's sort of twofold with me. I really saw the need, you know, having worked in the school system, the inner city school system, where 80% of the kids, you know, come from fatherless backgrounds or households. That to me was really kind of a, you know, a wow moment when I began to build, you know, these effective relationships with them, be it the classroom, which is where I started out. I did coaching. I was a head varsity football coach. I was a girls softball coach. So I began to develop relationships with my students and also my players on and off the field. So I found that they gravitated to me very easily. So when the opportunity presented itself for my son to be born, which was life-changing, anyone whose parents know that the minute that you lay eyes, you know, on your child, your life changes forever. So decided and made the commitment that I was going to be everything to my son that my mother was to me, and that my father was not. My father was not, you know, present or full time, I should say, in my life. We did not develop our friendship until our later years, which I'm glad that we did before he transitioned just 2 years ago. So, like I said, for me, in a nutshell, the motivation is to for me to be a great father, are the examples or the lack thereof as I grew up and developed into the man that I am today.
I feel like a lot of men in our community, right, lack direction and sometimes are unable to get on that path that you were able to get on, right?
Correct.
For you know, young men out there that might be struggling, they may not be fathers as of yet, right? But you
Right.
know, they didn't have the father in their lives, maybe to show them the way.
Right.
Maybe they don't have the role models. What are some of the recommendations that you have for some young men out there who might be struggling and might need that direction and don't necessarily have the support?
Yes, that's a really great question. Well, it's once said that broken boys grow up to be broken men.
Mm,
We really have to. When I say we, it's by, you know, by community. You know, it takes a village to raise a child.
mhm,
To invest, particularly within our inner cities. You know, really begin to invest and hear the cry for a lot of our young boys today. I will say that there are a lot of schools, a lot of communities, inner city programs that have mentoring programs. There are a lot of churches that do male mentoring. I mean, it's out there. You know, you just have to be intentional to seek it. It's not as it's hard, you know, to find these organizations as a lot of people think, because they're there. But if you just are intentional about it, you will definitely find it. So I would say to anyone who's sort of, you know, on the cusp of that, you know, just, you know, look into your community, look into your school
mhm,
system, and I'm sure you'll find a plethora of programs. I, for one, was a program director of a young mentoring program called the Young Gents Club, where we were
mm,
national recognition for our community service involvement. So, and you know, and then this program was pilot in the high school where I used to teach. So twice a week we have young men, you know, in shirts and ties. You know, they served in the cafeteria. They served on staff meetings. They read books to the younger students, you know, in elementary school, and they were happy to do it. You know, but it took someone or organization to introduce them to it. So, and again, you know, it's like anything else. You know, what you feed the mind or you feed the body.
mhm.
So, if we're intentional about it and reach out to these young men and let them know, hey, I'm here for you. they're going to gravitate to it. One thing that I learned that these kids don't invest in programs; they invest in people. So
People,
you
yeah,
That's true.
I
Mhm.
believe that.
entitled
I
to the
believe that.
program, but they're really invested in you. So if
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
to them, they're going to repay you by investing in you.
I believe that. And I've mentored young men, the young men of Eagle Academy. Shout out to Eagle Academy in the Bronx and Brooklyn for about 9 years. And I definitely have had that experience that a lot of them grew up in the inner city. They come from similar situations and they have trauma. You know, they have trauma. Mental health is a big thing in our community. So can you talk to us a little bit about your healing process? You talk about your mentorship to young men, but you can't really do that from a hurt place. Or how did you heal yourself to be able to pour back into these young men and then be able to continue to sort of climb and elevate to where you are today?
Right. For a long time, I was in a space where I thought that I could never actually forgive my father, for how, just by his him being absent, the struggle that he put me and my mom in. So for me, it was a matter of growth. It was a matter of prayer. It was a matter of, just coming of age before I was able to matriculate. But I really would have to kind of put the biggest investment is when I really developed my close relationship with God. And he's very strategic with his commandments. It's the reason why he commissioned the first 4 commandments to honor man and the last 6 to honor him. And the first commandment is to who? Honor your mother and father, and your days will be long upon this earth. If you notice, he didn't say honor them if they're honorable.
I see the light is, kind of, we're losing daylight, so we need to hurry up. We thank you for changing your position for us. So please continue, because you're saying some really good stuff that our audience needs to hear.
Sure, absolutely. So once I began to matriculate more into my Christian faith, I knew that in order to get to next level, that I had to somehow make amends, or salvage the relation, or make amends with the relationship that I had with my current father, with my biological father, I should say. So for me, I have longevity to spend with my son, to spend with my family. I knew that this was an I had to dot and a T that I had to cross. So a few years back, I reached out to my father, who lived out of state. His health was beginning to fail him. And, I've sort of, rebuilt that relationship, for about maybe 3 years up to his passing. And I'm so glad that I did, because one, I know that he, went to a better place, knowing that our relationship was rebuilt. And 2, I know that, moving forward, that I, honored what God commissioned me to do, with the expectation of my life, being extended. So, and again, it's a lot easier said than done. Have to get to that place. Again, really matriculate within your faith, and then just, move forward and make the connection. And even if, they don't accept, what you're offering, at least, and you're conscious that you did the right thing. You took the first step.
Absolutely. I mean, I love to hear that. And I think more people have to hear that and come to terms with. I think one of the lessons I learned are, just being a parent myself, right? We are people. We are human. We're making mistakes. We're figuring it out along the way, especially when we may not necessarily, just as you're saying, just growing up without a father, not necessarily having that those day-to-day lessons, right? You may get it from other areas in your community. But, when you're actually going through it and living it every day, it's not it's easier said than done, right? It's,
Correct.
there's a lot of difficulty in parenting, and we have to give our parents grace and understand that we're not always going to make the right decision. But if you do everything in love, that's it will end up in a good place. Things will work out for sure.
Absolutely.
So I think this is an important conversation that we're having. One of the things that we hear a lot, is some of the misconceptions about fathers in our community. Like, real Black fathers don't exist. They're not good, men out there that are Black men that are taking care of their families. And I know that, now after the passing of our uncle, you are basically the patriarch of our family. The same person that he gave me a hard time, y'all, when we were growing up. He's a couple of years older. He gave me a hard time. And he accredits me knowing how to fight to himself. So.
Hey, it worked. Look where you are now. Look how accomplished you are now. So it worked.
I double down on that. She does not take no mess. You don't take no mess.
So talk to us about some of the, what do you think some of the misconceptions are about, Black fatherhood?
Wow. So I would say, and again, being a research guy, I'm really on research and data because we know
up Shawna's alley.
Men, women, and children can lie, but numbers don't lie. One of the biggest misconceptions is that 51% of African American men are single and childless. Now, I know that data will have you believe that those numbers are far greater. Actually, they're not. So majority of the men walking around our communities are fatherless. 30% of African American men are married with children. So that right there is, a number, again, that we're not truly giving credit for. It's just a small proportion of men in our community who, bear about who born about maybe 80% of our children out of wedlock. So when we look at the numbers statistically, if you take the 50 plus the 85, majority of the men in our community, for the most part, are on the right path. It's just that small portion, small percentage of men in our community that we all, for the most part, take hostage to. So I would say for anyone who's looking to really kind of, sort of dethrone or defy the data in terms of who we are and the makeup of Black men, just rely on the data. It would show that. I know, and one of the things, one program that I had in my school, and we talk about mentorship, I had an all fathers club because I believe that just the presence of a father alone, could, make better outcomes. It's no different when you're traveling on the highway and you see a police car whose lights are, maybe a mile ahead of you. Your natural instinct to do what? It's to slow down.
Slow down, yeah.
Present as a police officer. And also, too, you don't want to get a ticket. So, and I use that same concept into the schools where I had fathers in and out of classrooms. I had fathers, doing lunch duty. I had fathers, doing morning and after school pickups. And again, it really made a difference just for the community to see the overflow of fathers having a very positive impact within our communities. So again, whatever you look for, you have a tendency to find. If you look for the negative, you will find it. But if you're intentional about looking for the positive, you too will find that as well.
And switch again. So we're seeing Adonis in many different backgrounds this evening as the sun sets in Raleigh, North Carolina. So, but I think that's a great what you said, and I've always been very happy that you've leaned into mentorship, and I guess we have that in common. And I know it's based on a need. Right. I do it because there's a need. I recognize that there is a need, not only in the community, but I wasn't seeing enough Black and brown men in corporate environment. And so I wanted to make sure that I helped to create that path. And I know you've done a lot to do that as well. But let's talk a little bit about our village, right? Because, we talk about our moms. Our moms are sisters. Your mom was Big Mama. Basically, she was the oldest sibling, and so let's talk about our village because our moms were one of 10. So we have a
Wow.
huge village, and I always feel like our village, was the reason why I always try to find like, what is the secret sauce? Like, why is it? Because I
Right.
feel like, our family did a good job with our upbringing.
Sure.
But I think our village is the reason why, it definitely took a village to raise us. And they raised us like brothers and sisters. And so, what are your thoughts about that?
Oh, I mean, I definitely, co-sign everything that you just said. It definitely takes a village to raise and also nurture a child.
Mhm.
We're blessed and fortunate, not because we came from, a large family uh, where our grandmother birthed 10 children. So it's not the birthing of the children, it was the people who we had around us. I know a lot of families, large families, where at some point you would have to say, what's going over there? What's going on across the street, because you don't see where the connection, love can be made. And with us, sometimes, I mean, not only do we love, but there are moments where we kind of love too hard, where we're bothering each other. And it's know that it's coming from a good place, because, that's what we were taught, one for all and all for one. So even now, you're talking 3 generations out, our children, Dee's daughter, who is, I consider my niece, and my son, AJ, who is his godmother, we're raising them not to see each other as cousins, but to see each other as brother and sister. So we want them to have the same connection and the same relationship that we had growing up. And the best way for them to have that relationship is to mimic how they see us interact. So, again, it's coming from good stock helps a lot. And we were blessed, like I said, to come from a family where it was nothing but love. If you need something, of course, it's yours. I'll be there, for the high and low moments. So again, we're very fortunate to have that. And I'll close by saying this. Some people say that DNA makes you related, but loyalty makes you family. But I'm blessed to say that not just because they're the DNA made the loyalty, but because they were just loyal people within themselves.
Everything you said was so beautiful. I'm soaking it up because, in some of the reading that I've done around parenting, it's like the most important thing you can give your child. It's not like education. I mean, obviously that's important. It's not being stern or, discipline. It's actually love. And I just think, I mean, just how I see how Dee is, and just when I'm hearing here, just to be kind of like, showering our children with love. I just think they don't get enough of that at all, especially. And as we were talking about this in our last episode, our families are, men, women, and children go out into the community, go out into their work day, they go out into life. And we're beaten up from time to time just from our interactions, and whatever it is that's going on. So we need to come home to that safe and loving space, right? To fill our cups back up and continue on and be successful people.
And, just to, if we can just, park on that street for a second, when we were growing up, we weren't, faced with the social media and the technology and that serve as a distraction. So incorporate those same qualities and principles into our interaction with family. Like, for example, when my family and I sit down at the dinner table, there are no cell phones, there are no iPads, there's no television. We sit down, have a conversation, and it starts with, how was your day? How was your day at school? How was your day at work? What's going on in your life? And it only, 20 minutes of that quality time. Because we know that, again, we live in a society where everything, sort of surrounds, technology and just, fast pace. So we get back to those old school traditional, times where, family actually sat down and broke bread together, minus all distractions, that too will really begin to build upon the whole love process and, learn a person more and learn them better. So, just kind of going back to the old school way, I think is probably, the best bet in terms of keeping a family together and gel.
Yeah, that rearing, that
Yeah.
makes a difference.
Absolutely.
And I know, listen, my nephew loves his daddy, loves his father. You hear me? And he
I love
is
it.
like the
That's
spitting image
wonderful.
of him.
Wow.
It's scary how much he looks like him, like scary. But as we close the conversation, tell us, what are some of the things that you guys share? Like, what do you like to do? What's some of the things that you just do with just you and him, and your daddy son time?
Yes. So, and I really adopted this principle from my relationship with my mother. Every Wednesday, that was my date night with my mother. So I going on every Wednesday night. We had dinner at Al's Diner in Jersey
She loved Al's Diner, y'all.
or Olive Garden. It was one of the three where you would find us every single Wednesday, and I didn't break that date for nothing at all.
Wow.
And that we, I'm happy that we shared that time together once a week, because it kept me connected. It kept her connected. It kept me grounded, kept her grounded. And it's something, those are times and moments where we laugh, where we cry, we would just share, uncontrollably share, we didn't pull any punches, so I look forward to those Wednesdays where I spent with my mom every single Wednesday until she transitioned.
Wow.
So then I took that same and I applied it with my son. Every Friday night, I'm a huge WWE wrestling fan, and Paul, he's the WWE wrestling fan. So from 8 to 9:30, that's our time where we watch television together, and we enjoy that show. Saturday mornings, we'll probably go walking or throw the ball, or I'll take him to karate, or I'll take him to football practice. He doesn't know this yet, but we're about to go sailing sometime over
Oh,
that's cool.
fishing. So that's going to be
This weekend, you said?
starting in the summer, probably in July.
Oh, okay.
In July,
Nice.
we're going to begin to, go fishing together, take fishing trips. So again, I'm creating times, I'm creating spaces where it's just exclusively he and I, where we can share that father and son time together. And again, commit to it and don't break it for anything. And him to have the same memories about that I had with my mom growing up. So
I just want to ask you, because as we close out, we are living busier lives than I think our parents did growing up. How do you maintain that commitment? Because here it is, you're a real estate investor, you're a restaurant owner, you're a family man. How do you manage to balance that? Because I know a lot of men are probably curious about that aspect of things. Yeah.
And when you put it in retrospect, my mom, again, growing up as a single parent, she worked 2 full-time jobs. So leave the house at 8 o'clock in the morning and then come home until 9 o'clock. But she still managed to check homework. She still managed to do, cook dinner. She still managed to go to PTA meetings. She managed to take me to practices. So, like they used to say, if there's a will, there's a way. I believe if you're intentional, as adults, we make time for the things that we want to make time for. Let's just put it out there. So if you're intentional about it, you set a schedule, you put it on the calendar. To me, it's not a schedule if it doesn't go on the calendar. Next day, not a day of the week. It's not a day of the week. Give me a day, give me a time so I can put it on the calendar. So we really become intentional about that and dedicate ourselves to just strictly family time. It becomes unbreakable because it becomes part of your daily pattern, becomes part of your routine. It becomes, it becomes a habit. So I think that's the first step. Put it on the calendar and commit to it. The same way we commit to our jobs, we commit to other clubs and activities and things. Let's do the same thing for our family time.
Well, we truly appreciate your time, all the gems that you dropped today, which I think are all really important, as we approach Father's Day and talk and celebrate our fathers in our community. And I just appreciate you, bro. That's all. I appreciate you and all that you do and how present that you are, not only for your son, but my daughter and the larger, community. So we want to thank you for being here with us today on Co-Labbin.
Yes, thank you. Thanks so much for collabing with us.
Well, again, equally, thank you all for the opportunity just to share my story. Being a dad at times, as they said, is a very, quiet, kind of heroic job. And sometimes it's thankless. So to have an opportunity or have a platform, just to share and to kind of, share your story and get your message out there, that means a lot. So I'm very appreciative of all you young ladies. Thank you, Dee. Again, I'm so proud of you. It sometimes makes me tearful when I see this little girl who I taught how to ride a bike. She didn't mention that. I taught her and to see, the young lady that she is today, both professionally as well as a mom. It just warms my heart to see that the young lady that you blossomed to. So keep doing what your little sis. This big brother.
Love you so much. And everybody go check out my brother's restaurant. I love mac and cheese, and we certainly do. We certainly do. So before we close out, we always leave you guys with a challenge. And last time the challenge was to do one special thing for yourself. And so I'll tell you what I did for myself.
What'd you do?
I took some time this week and I got a massage. Anybody that knows me knows
nice.
I love a good massage.
So what type of massage? How do you?
It's a Thai massage.
Okay, nice.
It was amazing, like life-changing. It was amazing. So what did you do? What'd you do, Shawna?
So I didn't do anything significant like that,
You always say that. Stop downplaying it. What did you do, girl?
No, what did I? So I actually one of my favorite things to do for myself is to walk around my neighborhood just randomly in the middle of the day when the kids were at school, and it's very. So I did that usually in the afternoon, but actually a couple of days this week I started off at like really really early in the morning, like 5:30 a.m. I went for a walk, and I'm gonna tell you just that. It's a different level of peace at that time of the day. So I encourage anyone to take a morning walk. Yes, it's very
good.
beautiful.
And continue to share with us what you guys have done for yourselves, and keep doing those things for yourself as well.
Absolutely. All right, for this week, we have our Father's Day episode. So we definitely challenge you to do something special, whether it be big or small. Just tell those fathers or those father figures in your life how much they mean to you and how great they're doing. You know what I mean? We don't always say it when we see it. And I also want to thank my own fathers that in my life. I have two special men in my life that have been amazing fathers, Dr. Richard Glover, and my father, Fred Martin, and also the father to my children, Tori Woodbury. Thank you. Love you all.
And I would like to thank my dear dad, Saifuddin Majid. I love the relationship we have right now. Talk about real talk. We have some real talks now. So I appreciate you so much and love you so much, Dad.
All right, and before we go, I just want to say it's June. So June is Pride Month. We also have Juneteenth, and it's Black Music Month. So shout out to our LGBTQA plus community. I hope I got all those letters right. And then, this is a special time where they just made Juneteenth a holiday last year. So go out there and celebrate. We have so many things
reflect.
It
ain't about celebration. It's reflection, I think.
No,
we can talk about that another time. But
yes, we can. Yes, we can. We're going to have a Juneteenth episode for sure. So definitely talk about our history. And a lot of people don't know where Juneteenth came out of. So I encourage you to do your research, visit some museums, and get educated on what it is.
Learn.
Yes. Cool. All right. So
we appreciate you guys for being with us today. This was an amazing episode. Thank you once again to my brother Dr. Adonis Blue, for joining us. Please go check out I Love Mac and Cheese. Again, one last plug in Raleigh, North Carolina. Go check him out. Support my family. And thank you for co-labbing.
All right, yeah. So what are you doing for your dad? Are you giving a present? I didn't do my shopping.
Oh,
yet.
I don't know what we're gonna do, how we're gonna celebrate Father's Day, but we're gonna think about something special.